A man ain't meant to outrun his own shadow. It follows in the cracks where all his deepest stories go. My voice comes rough and tired, like the last breath of the night, and the blues leans on my shoulder like it's holding me upright. The bartender sees a tremble where my pride begins to bend, watching shadows pull me backward to the truths I can't defend. If forgiveness meets the footsteps of the man I failed to show, it'll find the shadow running right below. A man ain't meant to outrun his own shadow, cold and true. Every step I ever took still leads me back to what I knew. If tomorrow brings me mercy for the weight I can't let go, let it calm the footsteps running with my shadow. The slide guitar cried softly like the echo of a sin, drawing lines around the places where the dark keeps settling. The bass hums low and steady like a truth that's come to stay, while the drums tap slow reminders of the nights I lost my way. Her memory walks beside me like a ghost I can't outrun, and I feel its quiet hunger every time the day is done. If the dawn could see the distance of the man I've tried to grow, it'd see the shadow clinging to my soul. A man ain't meant to outrun his own shadow, thin and warm. Every whisper in my bones reminds me where my pain was born. If redemption lifts the burden of the things I never showed, let it tame the shadow walking where I go. To outrun his own shadow, still I try. Let the morning warm the corners where my darker moments lie. If salvation finds me limping through the truths I can't forego, let it free the man still following his shadow. He's a man who walks beside his own regret. Shadows shaped like memories he ain't ready to forget. My voice drags low and quiet like a wheel that lost its spin, and the blue sits down beside him like a long abandoned kin. The bartender wipes a glass like he's seen this tale before, knowing some men carry sorrow like a chain they can't ignore. If forgiveness tracks the footsteps where his pain and truth are set, it'll walk the lonely mile of his regret. He's a man who walks beside his own regret, cold and slow, every step a soft reminder of the things he couldn't show. If tomorrow brings him mercy for the way he can't forget, let it lift the ghost that walks his silhouette. The slide guitar bends weary like it's echoing his past, drawing circles round the moments that were never built to last. The bass hums warm and earthy like the heart he can't repair, while the drums tap quiet pulses of the truths he's scared to share. Her name floats through his chest like a wind he can't outpace, and he feels it shake the silence like a whisper he can't face. If the dawn can read the footsteps of a man he never met, it'll know he walks beside his own regret. He's a man who walks beside his own regret, worn and dim. Every tremor in his breath reveals the weight that masters him. If redemption takes his burden where the night and sorrow set, let it break the bond he carries with regret. Beside his own regret, still he tries. Let the morning soothe the shadows where his broken memory lies. If salvation hears him whisper truths he's long refused to let it guide the man still walking with regret. He keeps his heart where the whiskey can't reach, locked behind a memory he refuses still to teach. My voice rolls low and quiet like a tide beneath the sand, and the blue sits down beside him like it finally understands. The bartender's eyes go soft like he knows what's tucked away, seeing sorrow in the silence that no drink will wash away. If forgiveness finds the secrets that it guards from every breach, it'll touch the heart the whiskey cannot reach. He keeps his heart where the whiskey can't reach, safe but torn, every beat a quiet echo of the man he was before the storm. If tomorrow shines a lantern
on the truths he won't impeach. Let it warm the heart the whiskey couldn't reach. The slide guitar bends gently like it's tiptoeing through his chest, drawing circles round the shadows he can't settle into rest. The bass hums deep and heavy like a truth he's scared to find, while the drums tap patient rhythms of a slowly loosening bind. Her name drifts through his breathing like a spark he can't control, and he feels it shake the chambers buried deep inside his soul. If the dawn reveals the corners where his stubborn fears still leach, it'll see the heart the whiskey couldn't reach. He keeps his heart where the whiskey can't reach, cold but real, every tremor in his bones confessing things he'll never feel. If redemption finds a wound beneath the armor he'll impeach, let it mend the heart the whiskey couldn't reach. Where the whiskey can't reach, still he stays. Let the morning break the silence of his locked and hidden way. If salvation meets him gently in the truth he won't beseech, let it free the heart the whiskey couldn't reach. Speaks to silence like he's the only one still listening. Words fall out like broken bottles on a barroom floor, still glistening. My voice shakes low and brittle like a truth I can't defend, and the blues pulls up a chair like it's my only steady friend. The bartender turns his ear like he's heard this kind of ache, knowing silence fills the spaces that a broken man can't fake. If forgiveness hears the murmurs in the dark my soul is christening, it'll hear me talk to silence that's still listening. He speaks to silence like he's the only one still listening, bare and true. Every whisper carries sorrows only God and shadows knew. If tomorrow lends a voice to all the truths I keep imprisoning, let it quiet down the silence I've been christening.
The slide guitar cries softly like it's nodding in a chord, drawing halos where the truth hangs heavy over every word. The bass hums low and ancient like a memory carved in stone, while the drums tap faint reminders that I've never walked alone. Her name floats through the stillness like a hymn I can't erase, and it stirs the quiet corners of the man I still misplace. If the dawn can hear the tremble where my truth is still glistening, it'll find me speaking to the silence that's still listening. He speaks to silence like it's the only one still listening, old and worn. Every breath a fragile echo of a man who's come undone and torn. If redemption fills the places where my darkest thoughts keep christening, let it hush the silence, always. Like it's the only one still listening, still it stays. Let the morning warm the spaces where my lonely spirit strays. If salvation finds me honest with the things I keep imprisoning, let it drown the silence that's been listening. He walks with guilt like it's the only friend still calling. Shadow leaning on his shoulder where his pride's already falling. My voice rolls rough and quiet like a man who's seen too much, and the blues leans into corners where regret is quick to clutch. The bartender rubs a glass like he's heard this tale before, seeing guilt slip through my breathing like it's walking through a door. If forgiveness meets the burden that I've carried so appalling, it'll know the friend called guilt is still the one that won't stop calling. He walks with guilt like it's the only friend still calling, thin but near. Every whisper
friend forever calling. The slide guitar bends are mournful, like it's tracking every step, drawing footsteps across the shadows where old memories have slept. The bass hums deep and weathered, like a truth I can't defy, while the drums tap slow reminders of the tears I didn't cry. Her name falls in my chest like a stone I can't release, and it echoes through the guilt that never lets my conscience cease. If the dawn can ease the weight of all the pain I've been recalling, it'll hush the friend called guilt that's always calling. He walks with guilt like it's the only friend still calling, raw and warm. Every step a quiet echo of the nights I can't return. If redemption brings me mercy for the wounds my hands have scrawling, let it drown the guilt that won't stop calling. Let the morning warm the footprints I've been dragging through my days. If salvation finds me kneeling where my darker truths are falling, let it end the friend who keeps on calling. He's carrying a stone nobody sees but him. Thunder in his ribcage where the hope runs cold in his slim. My voice shakes low and quiet like a roof about to break, and the blues wraps around my shoulders like it knows how much I ache. The bartender meets my eyes
like he sees the clouds I hide, feeling lightning in my breathing, and the rain I've never cried. If forgiveness sees the weather in the shadows of my limb, it'll hear the storm that follows him, only him. He's carrying a storm nobody sees but him, loud inside. Every heartbeat like a raindrop on a roof he can't outride. If tomorrow brings a sunrise where the clouds begin to dim, let it calm the storm that only lives in him. Let it calm the storm that only lives in him. The slide guitar moans low, like a thunder rolling slow, drawing shadows round the places where my damnedest secrets glow. The bass drums deep and heavy, like a sky about to fall, while the drums tap soft as raindrops on an old bar's wooden wall. Her ghost stirs in the storm like a spark he can't contain, and he feels her voice like lightning running straight across his brain. If the dawn can see the tempest hid beneath the wounded brim, it'll read the storm that only lives in him. He's carrying a storm nobody sees but him, wild and raw. Every whisper in his chest defying all he ever saw. If redemption finds the break-in where his night grows black and grim, let it ease the storm that no one sees but him. Let it ease the storm that no one sees but him. Sees but him, still it roars. Let the morning warm the windows where a shadow keeps its wars. If salvation hears him tremble in the dark he's living within, let it hush the storm that no one sees but him. My sins sit closer than any friend I've ever had. Pull a chair up to my shadow when the night grows dim and sad. My voice breaks low and trembling like a man outpaced by time. And the blues sits on my right side like it's waiting for a sign. The bartender gives that look like he's watching ghosts arrive, seeing pieces of a man whose past refuses to survive. If forgiveness hears the footsteps of the truth I can't unclad, it'll know my sins sit closer than the friends I've ever had. My sins sit closer than any friend I've ever had, cold and near. Every whisper in my breathing tells the weight I still revere. If tomorrow grants me mercy, softens edges worn and bad, let it push aside the sins that linger like the friends I never had. The slide guitar weeps gently like it's heard my every crime. Traces of heartbreak in the spaces where the years refuse to rhyme. The bass hums deep and steady like a conscience beating slow, while the drums tap faint reminders of the truths I never show. Her memory sits beside me like a ghost I can't escape, and it etches out the silence in a broken, fragile shape. If the dawn reveals the shadows that my guilty nights have clad, it'll see my sins sit closer than the friends I thought I had. My sins sit closer than any friend I've ever had, worn and true. Every echo in the darkness pointing straight back toward my roof. If redemption meets me humble, sees the roads where I've been bad, let it lead me past the sins that fill the chairs no friend yet had. My sins sit closer than any friend I've ever had, still they stay. Let the morning warm the places where my hope has lost its way. If salvation finds me broken in the quiet, lone and sad, let it make me stronger than the sins I've ever had. thanks, I beg for more. My voice breaks low and weather like a lock that's worn with age, and the blues pulls up beside me like it's reading every page. The bartender gives a nod like he's taken stock before, knowing some men drag the world in with their boots across the floor. If forgiveness meets the burden that I've carried shore to shore, it'll see the weight I bring through this old door. The bar knows the weight I bring through its door, deep and wide. Every secret that I'm holding hangs off every step I stride. If tomorrow hands me lighter truths than those I can't ignore, let it shift the weight I drag across this floor. The slide guitar groans gentle like it's tired of holding on, drawing shapes of all the memories that should have long been gone. The bass hums low and steady like a truth I've left behind, while the drums tap faint reminders of the burdens of my mind. Her voice lingers in the doorway like it's asking why I stay, and I feel it shake my conscience like a tremor day to day. If the dawn can see the sorrow that I've carried evermore, it'll know the weight I bring through this old door. The bar knows the weight I bring through its door, thin but strong. Every whisper in my breathing telling where I've gone so wrong. If redemption sets a lighter load than all my shadows bore, let it ease the weight I've carried through this door. The bar knows the weight I bring through its door, still it hears. Let the morning calm the tremors of the nights that shape my years. If salvation finds me humbled by the things I can't restore, let it lift the weight I bring through this old door. The bottle, it remembers what my heart forgot. Trace of every ghost I tried to bury in a shot. My voice comes low and broken like a tide that won't recede, and the blue sits close beside me like it's learning watching memories crawl out slowly from the cracks beneath the door. If forgiveness hears the whispers that my tongue keeps tangled high, it'll see the truth inside the drink my heart damn near forgot. The bottle remembers what my heart forgot, clear as glass. Every ache I tried to swallow keeps returning as I pass. If tomorrow brings me mercy, where tonight is tied the knot, let it hush the echo, drinking what my heart could not. The slide guitar bends tired, like it's carrying my sins, drawing lines along the chapters where my sorrow still begins. The bass hums low and heavy, like a conscience built of stone, while the drums tap soft reminders I ain't facing this alone. Her name slips through my breathing, like a truth I failed to chase, and I feel it haunt the liquor with a cold, familiar grace. If the dawn reads all the scars my lonely nights have overwrought, it'll see the bottle holding what my heart forgot. The bottle remembers what my heart forgot, rough but true, every swallow chasing shadows that I never could undo. If redemption pours me gently what the night has not yet brought, let it save the fragile pieces that my heart forgot. From these long uneven fates, if salvation hears me broken in the lies that liquor caught, let it teach the man I am what my heart forgot. The chair beside me knows the man I tried to forget. Keeps a shape carved by the stories I ain't found the strength to set. My voice drops low and honest, like a secret at the door. And the blues leans on that chair like it's heard this all before. The bartender gives a look like he's watching ghosts sit down, seeing past the man I'm playing to the one I let drown. If forgiveness meets the shadow where my broken truths are met, it'll see the man the chair won't let me forget. The chair beside me knows the man I tried to forget, dull and worn, every groove a quiet echo of the truths I left unborn. If tomorrow brings me courage where my past and pain have set, let it free the man that chair won't forget. The slide guitar bends weary like it knows my former name, drawing lines around the sorrows that I never learned to tame. The bass hums deep and steady like a friend that stayed too long, while the drums tap soften memories through the cracks of every song. Her laughter flickers faintly like a ghost behind my eyes, and it stirs a wooden silence where my faded courage lies. If the dawn can face the memory that the night keeps tight and wet, it'll find the man the chair can't forget. The chair beside me knows a man I tried to forget, still it hears all the whispers of the footsteps worn across my younger years. If redemption meets me gently where my shadow silhouette, let it hush the truths the chair won't let me forget. Still it waits. Let the morning slip forgiveness through the hollow of my face. If salvation finds me honest in the truths I can't reset, let it free the man the chair won't let Dust knows my name better than I do. whispers it across the highway like it's calling me back through. My voice scrapes low and weathered like a wheel that's lost its spin, and the blues leans close to tell me where my story's always been. The bartender gives a stare like he sees the road I keep. Dust across my boots and shadow from the miles I never sleep. If forgiveness finds a desert where my past blew clean askew, it'll know the dust remembers more than I ever knew. The dust knows my name better than I do. Raw and sore, every grain a piece of someone I ain't walking with no more. If tomorrow brings me truth where all my lost roads run me through, let it teach me who I am beneath the dust I knew. The slide guitar cries softly like a ghost inside a dune, drawing shapes of every secret I've been hiding far too soon. The bass hums deep and hollow like a memory buried thin, while the drums tap lonely patterns of the man I might have been. Her name drifts on the wind like a call I can't outrun, and I hear it stir the dust that's clinging to what I've become. If the dawn shines through the dirt where all my broken truths accrue, it'll see the dust knows better than I do. The dust knows my name better than I do. Won't it lean, every whisper tracking footsteps through the life I've never seen. If redemption clears the sand where all my failures misconstrue, let it show me what the dust already knew. Knows my name better than I do. Still it calls, let the morning lift the shadow where my fractured memory falls. If salvation meets me honest where old truths blow straight and true, let it teach the man I am that the dust once knew.
sat down before I found my voice. Pulled a chair beside my shadow, like it never gave me choice. My words felt sharp and rusted, like a lock that wouldn't break. And the blues curled round my breathing, like it knew how much I'd shake. The bartender watched me settle, like he'd seen this scene unfold. Seeing silence weigh me heavy in the truths I never told. If forgiveness finds the quiet where my courage lost its poise, it'll know the night sat down before my voice. The night sat down before I found my voice. Deep and near, every whisper lost in shadows I've been carrying for years. If tomorrow lends me breathing strong enough to make the choice, let it drown the night that sat before my voice. The slide guitar moans gentle, like a secret meant to die, drawing shades of all the moments I was too afraid to try. The bass hums slow and truthful, like a warning in the dark, while the drums tap faint reminders of the words I failed to spark. Her name rose in my throat, but the night kept pushing down, and I felt the darkness steal it like a thief inside the town. If the dawn reveals the echoes I was haunted to rejoice, it'll know the night sat down before my voice. The night sat down before I found my voice. Bare and thin, every tremor in my chest betraying where I fall again. If redemption holds me steady when the silence feels like noise, let it raise the voice that night destroyed. Before I found my voice, still it stays. Let the morning warm the corners where my hope has lost its ways. If salvation hears me trying through the dark I can't avoid, let it give me back the voice the night destroyed.
Night wears my failures like a coat I never took back.
sleeves stitched out of memories I've been scared to keep on track. My voice breaks low in weather like a door that's lost its frame, and the blues pulls up beside me like it's answering my shame. The bartender gives me nods like he's heard these prayers before, seeing truth spill in my shadow when I stumble through the door. If forgiveness sees the fabric I've been dragging through the black, it'll know the night's been wearing what I never took back. The night wears my failures like a coat I never took back, old and torn. Every seam a silent echo of the man I was before I was born. If tomorrow brings me daylight where this weight can finally crack, let it take the coat the night still pulls from my past's rack. The slide guitar moans injured like it's holding up my spine, tracing shadows across the heartache that I never dared refine. The bass hums deep and certain like it's walking where I hide, while the drums tap dusted patterns of the guilt I hold inside. Her voice drifts down my memory like a wind across the scene, and I feel the fabric shifting where my sorrow learned to dream. If the dawn can stitch the edges of the truth I can't unpack, it'll see the coat the night still wears, the things I can't take back. The night wears my failures like a coat I never took back, thin but true, every thread a worn reminder of the life I never grew. If redemption warms the morning where my broken steps retract, let it lift the coat the night holds on my back. Like a coat I never took back, still it fits. Let the sunrise cut the shadows where the truth and sorrow sit. If salvation finds me trembling in the past that stained my track, let it burn the coat the night won't bring back. The secrets I was too weak to carry, buried in the dust like promises I never meant to marry. My voice drops low and heavy like the quiet in a storm, and the blues leans close beside me like it's trying to keep me warm. The bartender stares a moment like he's searching through my shame, seeing miles stitched in my footsteps with the stories I can't name. If forgiveness walks the highway where my guilt learned how to tarry, it'll meet the secrets I was too weak to carry. The road keeps a secret I was too weak to carry, thin and warm. Every mile a tired echo of the truths I left forlorn. If tomorrow brings me mercy for the weight I failed to bury, let it lighten all the secrets I can't carry. The slide to toss I slowly, like it's treading on my past, drawing circles round the choices that I knew would never last. The bass hums deep and mournful, like a soul that's lost its aim, while the drums tap quiet passages through the chapters soaked in blame. Her voice drifts through the silence like a wind across a grave, and it rustles up the memories of the man I couldn't save. If the dawn could see the burdens that the nights refuse to parry, it'll read the secrets I was too weak to carry. The road keeps the secrets I was too weak to carry, dark but true. Every whisper in my chest reveals the miles I can't undo. If redemption finds me weary in the dust I still miscarry, let it lift the weight no road should I have to carry. The secrets I was too weak to carry, still it does. Let the morning chase the shadows I've mistaken now for trust. If salvation finds me honest where my broken truths miscarry, let it take the secrets I could not carry.
When the floorboards echo every lie I told, I feel the truth climb through the cracks like something tired and old. My voice comes rough and trembling, like a man who's walked too far, and the blues lays down beside me like it's sleeping in my scar. The bartender knows the look of someone losing what they hide, sees a shadow spill their secrets every time I step inside. If forgiveness hears the creaking underneath the weight I hold, it'll know the floor remembers every lie I told. When the floorboards echo every lie I told, cold and clear, every footstep brings a truth I've been too broken to revere. If tomorrow brings me mercy for the things I can't withhold,
let it hush the floor that whispers what I told. The slide guitar bends weary, like it's walking in my shoes, drawing circles round the memories of the nights I always lose. The bass hums low and patient, like a warning in my chest, while the drums tap out confession in a rhythm of unrest. Her ghost walks through the room like she's reliving what I hid, and I feel the floorboards tremble with the truth of what I did. If the dawn reads all the stories that the night can't leave untold, it'll hear the steps that echo lies I sold. When the floorboards echo every lie told, raw and thin, every silence holds the tremor of the man I might have been. If redemption lifts the burden that my broken past enrolled, let it quiet down the lies these boards still hold. Echo every lie told, still they do. Let the morning warm the shadows where my sins come seeping through. If salvation meets me gently where old truths have all unrolled, let it mend the man who lives beside the lies he told. Where the broken road knows my footsteps by name, I hear the echoes of the stories, only I can bear the blame. My voice comes raw and quiet, like a man resigned to fate, and the blues walks right beside me, like it's always running late. The bartender reads my posture like a map that's come undone, seeing highway in my silence, all the miles I've never won. If forgiveness walks the edges where my past still clings to shame. It'll meet the road that whispers out my name, where the broken road knows my footsteps by name. Dry and slow, every stretch a quiet witness to the man I am below. If tomorrow brings me mercy for the route I can't reclaim, let it soothe the road still speaking out my name. The slide guitar moans heavy like the dust upon my skin, tracing sorrow through the sunlight where the lonely miles begin. The bass hums deep and weathered like a wheel that's lost its hold, while the drums tap soft surrender to the weight I never told. Her memory rides a breeze like a ghost upon the side, and it follows me through darkness like a shadow I denied. If the dawn can read the pavement where my burden's still aflame, it'll see the road still whispering my name, where the broken road knows my footsteps by name. Rough and real, every mark along the gravel shows the truths I tried to seal. If redemption meets me wandering through the nights I can't outgain, let it guide the road still calling out my name. By name, still it calls. Let the morning lift the shadows where my restless spirit falls. If salvation finds me trembling in the path I can't disclaim, let it bless the road that always knew my name. Where the truth sits down before I dare to speak, I feel the courage in my chest grow thin, grow slow, grow weak. My voice falls low and broken, like a candle in the rain. And the blues sits down beside me, holding tightly to my pain. The bartender sees the tremble that I'm trying to hide inside, watching honesty lean quiet where my pride and fear collide. If forgiveness meets the moment when my heart begins to leak, it'll sit beside the truth I dare not speak. Where the truth sits down before I dare to speak, raw and near. Every silence feels like thunder in the space between my fear. If tomorrow brings me voices, where tonight I feel so weak, let it raise the truth I'm scared to speak. The slide guitar bends gently, like it's coaxing me to try, drawing halos round the truths I've kept too far behind my eye. The bass hums deep and steady, like a thought I never free, while the drums tap quiet warnings of the man I long to be. Her name slips through my longing like a flame behind a screen, and it flickers in the shadows where my courage never been. If the dawn lights up the corners where my words turn old and bleak, it'll see the truth I'm scared to speak. Where the truth sits down before I dare to speak, thin and warm. Every heartbeat holds a whisper of the truths my soul has sworn. If redemption hears me trembling in the things that make me weak, let it lift the truth I failed to speak. Where the truth sits down before I dare to speak, still it stays. Let the morning chase the shadows where my fear has held its ways. If salvation meets me gently where my fragile words still creak, let it raise the voice of truths I dare to speak.
The bar knows the weight my shadow brings inside, sees the heaviness I'm carrying and the truths I try to hide. My voice breaks low and quiet, like a man who's lost his fire, and the blues sits in my posture like he's never lost his eye. The bartender nods one slow, like he's seen this low before. Watching guilt walking behind me, across the worn out wooden floor. If forgiveness reads the burden where my darkness tends to bite, he'll know weight my shadow drags inside. The bar knows the weight my shadow brings inside, thin but deep. Every step across that doorway pulls a truth I couldn't keep. If tomorrow brings me mercy, where my secrets split and collide, let it lift the weight I'm dragging inside. Slide guitar cries gentle, like it's leaning on my pain, drawing circles through the smoke, like it's echoing the strain. The bass hums low and steady, like it's reading every thought, while the drums tap quiet patterns I've been scared to leave unsolved. Her voice flows through my memory like a door I closed too hard, and it shakes the dusty corners of the man forevermore. If the dawn reveals the shadows where my broken truths reside, it'll see the weight my shadow brings inside. The bar knows the weight my shadow brings inside, warm and cold. Every whisper in my breathing tells a story left untold. If redemption rounds the edges where my lonely fears abide, let it ease the weight my shadow holds inside. seas. Let the morning warm the sorrow, sitting quiet in my need. If salvation meets me humbly in the truths I've long denied, let it free the weight held deep inside.
Hear my truth before I'm brave enough to speak it. Hold the echoes of the secrets I'm too fragile to unseat yet. My voice falls low and trembling like a page about to tear. Blues leans on my breathing like it's waiting on a prayer. The bartender gives a glance like he's heard this kind of ache, watching honesty grow heavy with each swallow that I take. If forgiveness meets the whisper, I've been scared too long to leak it. It'll hear the truth, the walls know when I speak it. The walls hear my truth before I'm brave enough to speak it. Thin but true, every crack along their surface knows the things I hide from you. If tomorrow brings me courage through the doubts that still critique it, let it seal the truth the walls first heard me speak it. The slide guitar weeps softly like it's coaxing me to try, drawing circles round the words that sit unspoken in my eye. The bass hums deep and steady like a certainty I fear, while the drums tap fragile rhythms of a voice I hold too near. Her name rests on my breathing like a weight I can't deny, and it shakes the quiet corners where my timid truths still lie. If the dawn can lift the shadows where my weakness tends to peek it, it'll raise the truth I never dared to speak it. The walls hear my truth before I'm brave enough to speak it. Raw and bare, every heartbeat aches to tell the things I never meant to share. If redemption steadies fingers where my wounded thoughts still creak it, let it lift the truth the walls outheard when I speak it. to speak it. Still they wait, let the morning chase the shadows that my fear can't dissipate. If salvation finds me humble, where my fragile truths meet fate, let it guide the words. I'm finally brave to stay.
Where my footsteps confess what my voice refuses to. I feel the truth rise from the gravel like it's dragging something through. My voice cracks low and worried like a prayer that lost its aim, and the blues stays on my shoulder like it's haunting me by name. The bartender gives a stare like he's read this path before, seeing guilt track through my footsteps when I cross that wooden floor. If forgiveness hears the echo where the truth begins to bloom, it'll walk the steps my voice can't yet resume. Where my footsteps confess what my voice refuses to, bare and thin, every shuffle on the tile tells the weight I hold within. If tomorrow brings me courage where my fears have split in two, let it teach my voice what footsteps already knew. Guitar moans softly like it's following my trail, drawing circles round the places where my bravery tends to fail. The bass hums deep and shaken like a truth beneath the dust, while the drums tap slow confessions from a heart I barely trust. Her silhouette hangs gently in the corner of my chest, and it stirs the quiet feelings I've been too afraid to test. If the dawn can read the path my trembling footsteps wander through, it'll hear what my voice refuses to. Where my footsteps confess what my voice refuses to, dark but real, every tremor through my walk reveals the things I never feel. If redemption meets me gently where my shadow splits in two, let it teach my tongue what footsteps always knew.
footsteps confess what my voice refuses to. Still they do. Let the morning warm the spaces where the truth is broken through. If salvation finds me trembling in the things I can't outdo, let it free the voice that footsteps carry true. He drinks to forget, but the glass remembers everything. Echoes in the amber tell the songs he's scared to sing. My voice cracks low and heavy, like a truth has lost its place, and the blues leans in beside me like it's studying my face. The bartender fills it slow, like he's pouring out old pain. Seeing ghosts behind my breathing that I tried to drown in vain. If forgiveness meets the liquid where my battered thoughts still cling, it'll know the glass remembers everything. He drinks to forget, but the glass remembers everything, dull and clear. Every swallow shakes the echoes of the man I fear is near. If tomorrow brings me mercy through the storms my past will bring, let it hush the glass recalling everything. The slide guitar bends lonely like a memory unsealed, drawing tears from faded faces I've been too afraid to yield. The bass hums deep and patient, like a friend who won't give up, while the drums tap slow admissions in the bottom of my cup. Her name floats in the liquor like a ghost beneath a flame, and it warms the wounded chambers of the guilt that bears her name. If the dawn can see the shadows where my trembling fingers cling, it'll read the glass that's kept on remembering. He drinks to forget, but the glass remembers everything, thin but bold. Every drop a quiet witness to the truths I never told. If redemption meets me shaken by the weight my sins still bring, let it break the glass that knows everything. glass remembers everything, still it sees. Let the morning wash the shadows hid within my memories. If salvation finds me kneeling where the old regrets still sting, let it free the man the glass recalls in everything. My shadow pulls a chair before my body even sits down, waiting in the dim reflection where old regrets still gather round. My voice drops low and weary like a truth that's grown too long, and the blues sits right beside it like it's humming my own song. The bartender gives a smirk like he's seen this tale unfold, knowing shadows walk before us when our stories get too old. If forgiveness meets the echo where my weary truths are drowned, it'll find my shadow sitting before I settle down. My shadow pulls a chair before my body even sits down, thin but near. Every tremor in its outline shaped by everything I fear. If tomorrow brings me courage for the weight away like a crown, let it slow the shadow sitting before I settle down. The slide guitar cries hollow like it's speaking for my bones, drawing halos round the silence where my tired truth atoned. The bass hums warm and steady like a lantern in the dark, while the drums tap quiet pulses like they're tracing every mark. Her memory drapes the shadows like a coat across the chair, and it waits for me in places where I'm barely even there. If the dawn can see the tremble where my shaken thoughts are found, it'll see the shadow sitting before I touch the ground. My shadow pulls a chair before my body even sits down, old and grim. Every whisper in its posture shows the weight I hold within. If redemption found me broken where my darker truths surround, let it soften shadows sitting before I sit down.
pulls a chair before my body even sits down. Still it waits. Let the morning warm the corners where my bitter memory stays. If salvation finds me humble, will my heavy thoughts resound? Let it teach my shadow how to sit me down. Night knows my footsteps better than my memory does. Here's the weight I drag behind me, and the man I never was. My voice falls low and dusty like an engine that won't spark, and the blues leans on my shoulder like a shadow in the dark. The bartender gives a glance like he's watching someone fade, seeing echoes walk before me where my younger self once stayed. If forgiveness meets the rhythm where my worn out stories buzz, it'll hear the steps the night knows better than I do. The night knows my footsteps better than my memory does. Old and sore, every echo on the pavement hold a truth I can't ignore. If tomorrow brings me clarity through all the haze, I swim because let it guide the steps the night remembers more than I does. The slide guitar sighs softly like it's following my track. Drawing shapes of every promise that I never gave back. The bass hums deep and hollow like a well that won't run clean, while the drums tap out reminders of the things I've never seen. Her voice drifts through my silence like a wind across a map, showing roads I should have taken, but I fell through every gap. If the dawn can read the footsteps where my wisdom never was, it'll know the night has known me better than I does. The night knows my footsteps better than my memory does. Thin but true, every stumble in my gait reveals the man I never grew. If redemption follows footprints through the places my soul fuzzed, let it walk beside the night that knows me more than I does. footsteps better than my memory does. Still it keeps, let the morning warm the secrets where my broken spirit sleeps. If salvation finds me wandering through the truth my shadow does, let it teach my memory who I was.